Well, today I got to do some glaze coat on a bar top. Connor built this bar in the barn, so he built it about 2 months ago. So this is what we got. Nice bar. This is original old barn wood. Back when they used to double plank an old post and beam house, they used these planks. So these planks are over 100 years old, and I'm going to glaze coat them. So this may be either a how-to or a how not to glaze coat a bar top. But he built this bar. He did a stagger lap on the front of it. So it's a board with a bat and then another board and bat, and he kind of did a stagger lap. And when he did that, he was stretching the material as far as he could.
Good morning.
The Empress is checking up on me. See how I'm doing on this bar glaze coat job. Well, hon, Connor left gaps, so I got to fill all those in.
Okay.
Which is going to be a pain in the neck, but we'll see how that goes.
What kind of gaps?
The gaps because of the lap in the boards.
Oh. Up here, you mean? Like this?
No, down here. Down back here, because we're going to put glaze coat on this.
Oh.
And down in here, see there's a space?
Is that what these are for?
Yes. That is what those are for.
Okay.
So I'm going to start on one end, measure and see. I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to see if I can't just cut them really accurately and cram them in.
Yeah, that would be
Because I don't
nice.
see a way to get a nail in it.
No.
Oh, I could shoot a nail in from the other side to hold it, but that'd be, yeah, I could do that. We'll see. See if I can get an accurate measurement here. 4.5. So if I take that right there, use my razor knife, try to get an accurate mark on it. Handy dandy DeWalt saw. I cut it long. Let me try that again. Okay. Oh, that seems like a pretty close fit. I gotta devise a way to drop that in there. That's what I'm gonna do. Probably like a board. We'll see what happens with that. Well, let's see if this works. I got my favorite finish hammer. Yeah, I know. You're never supposed to use like a mason's hammer for carpentry, but what are you gonna do? I grabbed what I had. I don't know where my other hammer went. I want to just drop that in there. This might be, ooh, it's got 2 different widths on it, so I can be more pinpoint. Oh my goodness gracious sakes alive! Would you look at that? No, really. Come look at it. That dropped in there just as sweet as can be. I wish you could see it, but oh, now you can see it. That's not bad. That's tight enough where I don't think there'll be a problem with the glaze coat dropping through it. So now on to the next one. Yeah, you gotta have a sharp pencil and cut to the line and all that, but it's hard to beat a knife edge when it comes to marking a piece of wood for cutting. I don't like it. I'm gonna cut a new one. We knew this had to happen sooner or later. Now this one seems fat, but I think I'm gonna be able to cram it. Yep. Got her. Still a gap back there. I'm gonna have to do something about filling that gap so goop doesn't just run right down it. Well, I got a couple more to go, but I'm gonna spare you guys that, and then I'll come back. So I'm gonna crawl under this thing with this Lexel, and all right underneath, any place there's a crack, I'm gonna goop in some of this sealant to seal it up so that, because I noticed that when I did the last one, if there's any cracks, this glaze coat will keep working its way through and you'll wind up with a puddle on the floor, and a whole bunch of the glaze coat goes through the cracks. So I'm gonna seal all the cracks up, give this stuff an hour or so to dry before I put on a skim coat. Okay, so I got my little blocks in, I got it all siliconed up underneath as a sealant. I'm going to wind up using this wire brush and a vacuum cleaner over there, and I'm going to scrub this, try to get up all these little dusty things and clean these boards out, make sure they're nice and clean because they're old. I think the wire brush will just do the best as far as cleaning it up and not destroying the top. You know, I could use a sander and sand it all, but I really want this texture. So I think I got it ready. I think it's looking pretty good. I got my cardboard on the floor so the drips don't hit the floor. Okay, I want to do that sealer coat on there, and I'm just reading this. It says, reading the instructions, which is unusual for me, but it says for the seal coat, I can use a water base, and I just happen to have some. I got this Minwax water-based polyacrylic clear. So I'm going to throw that on there as a seal coat. And And then tomorrow I'm going to come in when it warms up. It's so chilly today. I can't get it warmed up in this barn. It's just chilly. It's the first day of summer too, and it's just chilly. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spread some of that on there. And this stuff, you always stir, you never shake it. You don't want to get a bunch of bubbles in it. It's a milky looking stuff. It's really already in pretty good suspension. I'm not getting anything off the bottom. So it seems to paint, when I have extra paint and things like that, if I keep it in my cellar, which is a constant, I don't know, 50, 60 degrees, and paints and stains and things like that seem to last better, for me anyway, in a place that doesn't, have temperature fluctuations for one thing, and also crazy high temperatures for another. All right, so I'm going to finish mixing this and then I'll get started. So I'm going to work around the outside of the bar first, and then I'll get on the inside of the bar, work my way around the inside. And I think that way I'll be able to do it kind of quick and efficient. Okay guys, next morning. Looks pretty good just with the seal coat on it, which was just that water-based urethane. Now, according to instructions, I'm supposed to have 70 degrees and I am 65. I gotta wait a little bit for it to warm up. It's getting to be about 70 degrees outside. Okay, I just got the whole thing all vacuumed up again. I put a tarp over it. So that's gonna clean it up. I'm gonna have Molly and the Empress are probably gonna help me with this because we gotta get it on there and get it done quick. Go ahead and do it. I'll start mixing the stuff. I'm just gonna mix the whole batch. I'll right in a gallon jug and mix it up. Okay, gotta try to get all my ducks in a row. They're very specific about the mixing procedure on this material. They want you to put the two parts together, mix it 6 minutes, then dump it in a separate container, clean out as much of the stuff as you can into the second container, then you mix it an additional 6 minutes or until it gets to 90 degrees. So let's see how this is gonna go. A little nervous about it because mixing this stuff, it's kind of pricey and I don't want to waste it. And worse than that, I don't want to screw up the whole job. We're filming, Mal.
Ooh.
You get to be my assistant. You don't mind, do you?
No, I don't mind at all.
Gotta be careful about this stuff. Side B, side A, that's the resin. That's already in the container. See, you can look at the instructions.
Ooh. Resin A, hardener B, for equal parts each of resin and hardener in separate clean containers.
Well, just pouring it in there made a bunch of bubbles. Now, when you mix a large quantity like this, Mal, it gets hotter and quicker. It doesn't work as fast, so we gotta work fast.
Okay. And you have to mix it for 6 minutes, it says?
Yeah.
What if you mix it for 6 minutes and 30 seconds?
Could be a disaster. I think the main thing is we don't go under.
Okay.
All right, I think I've been sufficiently stingy with this. Because I figured a square footage of it, and it comes to 24 something, and each gallon does 25. So, look at it, it looks weird.
Ew.
You're supposed to mix it gently. So I actually set a timer, because my buddy Colt did this, and he wound up with goo. And it didn't dry for weeks. If I do that.
Ooh, that would be disastrous.
That would be bad, right? Doesn't say I have to mix counterclockwise, does it?
No.
Okay, we're still mixing. A minute and 16 seconds to go on the first mix. 25 seconds to go. Such a spine tingler. Wow, can you just hold that? 'Cause I'm gonna pour it.
Grandpa, what are you doing?
I'm making epoxy.
Epoxy.
Gotta mix this 6 minutes. Or till it gets to 90 degrees. You wanna mix, Mom?
Sure.
I'm setting a timer, 6 minutes. And Molly is mixing. Here
You're
we
gonna
go.
have to- you
Okay,
can't-
got to 90 degrees in 3 minutes, so we're going with it. Hey guys, you get behind me and work it out. If I put too much out, you gotta let me know. You just want to bring it to the edge, yep. And we don't have much time, so bring it right over to the edge and get her going. Don't overwork it. You gotta just get it going. Get it right to the edge and go. Kind of like this, bring it right over. And it's gonna self-level. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna
Okay, it's
pull it right
getting
over.
to the point now where it's getting clumpy.
Don't work it then.
Gotta get the sides too.
Okay, yep. Okay, I'm gonna get more material down there, a little bit more.
Yeah, because it's not on the sides over here.
All right, Mal. Just pull that right over the edge. This is tricky, isn't it?
This is tricky.
If you just start in the middle and bring it toward you, and
Yep.
it'll go right over the side.
Yep, that's what you gotta do. Exactly that. You just can't be stingy over the edge, that's all. It's just gonna.
Yep, right.
It's just gonna happen.
Yep.
I just poured more over here because it was like a little hole. It is leveling out too, you notice?
Good.
Any holes? You see any holes or low spots? This looks low?
Yeah. I got some on.
On you?
Me too. It's on my finger. Am I gonna die?
Yeah, how toxic is this?
Yes, you are gonna die, but not from this.
Okay.
Good.
All right, now what?
Now we just sit back and relax. Thanks, guys. Couldn't do it without you. Now I'm gonna get the torch out, and we're gonna get rid of bubbles.
All right. I didn't know this was part of it.
Oh yeah, this is part of it.
Oh,
wow. You see that?
wow. That's cool. It's not gonna catch on fire.
It's popping the bubbles. Oddly, no.
Don't step in the, yeah, be careful. It's all over the,
It even helps level it out, I think.
yeah, that's cool.
Oh, that was awesome. It's amazing what the heat does. I've got kind of a hot torch. It's a MAP gas torch, so I'm staying kind of far away. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of bubbles. Tiny bubbles. I'm gonna get all the way down the end, and then I'll start at the beginning again. The bubbles will wind up being divots, so you gotta watch out for that. Seems like bubbles are coming back. Lots of bubbles all over again. Bubbles are just popping still. My arm's getting tired. All right, guys, here we go again. 3 times over for the bubbles. My arm really is getting tired. Boy, it gets a lot of bubbles on the end grain. I should have put more coats of sealer coat. This wood's like 100 some years old. It's dry. I just have to keep going over and over, I guess. Oh, it just keeps bringing bubbles up. I can't even believe all the bubbles. It does say colder temperatures make more bubbles. I believe them. It was 65. They recommend 70. Wow. I mean, it's just starting bubbles all over again. It says you're gonna do it several times, so I guess I'll get back to work.
It says full cure 72 hours.
Yeah. Which we have just enough time for that, right?
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
That's the end grain, Mom. So it makes more bubbles and it sucked in more material. You did it. You got it over the edge. It just sucked it in.
Yeah.
You want to try this?
Sure.
Okay, you watch that. Well, you know, it's still dripping over the edge. You know what that tells me?
What?
It's still leveling out.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's probably been about an hour since the pour, but all in all, it's looking fairly decent. I mean, it don't look perfect. There's some really nice, smooth, shiny spots. There's some, it's a little bit mottled through here. You can see where it's ripply, but that's where we started, and we were working a little too hard. We got a spot over here where it got a little thin. You can see the saw cuts of the lumber coming through a little bit. And it's a little goofy through there, but the worst part was the ends. This was dry, and I was like, oh man, the Empress didn't like it much. It was dry, so we just figured we missed it, but I was telling her, I said the end grain sucked it in, and it did. But you know what I did? I just took those little black plastic spatulas we were using, those putty knives. I just scraped some right up off the thing. It's gooey still, and I just gooed it on there. I did it on this end too. And you can see it's still working, where it's really gooey, and I put it on there, and it's still leveling out. It's sheeting down over and dripping off the bottom. I did this one too. I did all the end grain basically that I could get to. And I did this one, and it's even rolling down over that wood right there. And then before it sets up too hard, I'm gonna have to pull this tape off. But you gotta put down cardboard. Another big thing is I used that one coat of that polyacrylic for a seal coat with this barn wood, because this barn wood, there's even spots where it just won't fill it. I mean, it's crazy, and I'm chasing bubbles like mad. I think it's gonna be acceptable. It's gonna look good enough. Yeah, we got probably about an hour and a half, and I just put a big gobber on there, and it is sheeting down over the edge of the board and sealing in the end and dripping down on the floor. I got so much material, look at it, just on this cardboard. I'm just gotta keep putting it up here until it all stays. I just keep dabbing it up on there and let it sheet over. And sooner or later, that wood's got to get satisfied. It's got to get saturated, right? Probably take this and just give it a quick right across, just to kind of smooth that over. Yep, just kind of schmooze that over like that. Now I'm just going to let it goober on down. Now I've done this once already, and most of it did drip right back off, so this might be a continuing process. Now it's dropping out as little strings. Wow. Well, I'm gonna go back to the torch again. I'm not seeing as many air bubbles. It's been, like I said, we're probably pretty close to an hour and a half in this. I got my helmet flashlight on. I don't know if it's helping or hurting. Not really seeing too many air bubbles now. I see divotty looking spots like those right there, and like that. Yeah, they're little air bubbles. Well, I'm gonna hit it again with the torch. I just scraped up a big gob and threw it there. Let's see if that levels out. Sliding down the edge. Maybe I had to tug it this way a little bit. Things are still melting even after an hour and a half. I'm just going to leave that like that. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't wind up being a big goober. A big nasty spot on the bar top. But looks like for the most part it's leveling out pretty good. I really wish I could put another coat on it. I think that would really doll it up beautiful. But I don't have time. We got that wedding coming up on Saturday, so got to have 72 hours of cure time. And today's midday Wednesday, so we got Thursday be 24, Friday be 48, and wow, we're just gonna make it. Yeah, look at it, just gooping over the edge. I put a couple goobers there just to fill in some holes and cracks. It seems to be working, although now I'm seeing where it's slowing down as far as, you know, leveling out. Like this crack, I just filled that crack all in. I want to fill that in this crack, which is looking pretty good. There's a couple air bubbles. I'm gonna pop them with the heat. For the most part, it's leveling out. I'm gonna hit it again with the heat and see if I can get it to flatten. Well, it's been 2.5, almost 3 hours now. Still leveling out more. It's laying down pretty level. If I have a bump like this, I'm pretty sure I can sand that out if I have to. I'll just sand it out and buff it. And then bring it right back up to original gloss. And like I said before, I might put a second coat on it. But for now, I think I'm going to take back the other kit. Because I bought 2 kits, which would have been enough to do this top. One kit did this top with a lot of spillage and waste. It's almost like I could have done other boards down there or something. I don't know. I hate waste, but sometimes it's inevitable. So this inner board here, this board here, I'm gonna do all this in polyurethane. I'll probably throw a couple more coats on it because I did, if I remember right, yeah, I did this. It just has one coat on it now. And I'm gonna do it with a foam brush and just put that water-based on there. And then that way, if I ever do decide to do this, it'll already be sealed up pretty good. And I'll just give it a quick sand and throw the coat on it. Pretty much done with getting the air bubbles out. It's pretty much beyond that, I think. It's starting to cure as it's leveling out still a little bit. It is what it is. At this point, I'm stuck with what I got. I think mostly it went pretty well. For cleaning up your hands, nice little tip here. This stuff works good. Hand sanitizer. It's alcohol. And it told me in the instructions, alcohol or acetone cleanup. They make it stiffer and it stays in your hands better than like just alcohol, but it really took all the stickiness right off. Oh, here we go. Okay, well, I think I did everything I could do. It's been about 3.5 hours, I think, since we actually did the pour. And it looks pretty good. It could level out a little more. There's a couple little dimples here and there, but I'm to the point where I can't do any more. I think it's gonna come out looking nice. The Empress is happy, that's all that matters. And I put a coat of polyurethane on this inner bar, and I'm gonna do that again tomorrow. I'll probably put 3 coats on it, maybe 4. It'll be tough. It'll be like a floor, you know. It won't have the look of the glaze coat, but it'll still look good. It'll have shine, it'll be poppy, it'll be nice. I guess if I was to do this all over again today, not worried about rolling over the edge so much, instead I would have just taken the putty knife and I would have had a little bit in a bucket and smeared it over the edges. Heck, you could even do that before you do your pour, you know what I mean? Just run around, do all the edges real quick, and then do your pour, and then you'd know your edges were pretty good. And then let it drip off the edge anyway. I mean, you don't really have a choice. I was thinking of different ways that you could save that material. I could have screwed a board under here, you know, maybe to catch it, but then sooner or later I'm gonna have to, you know, break that bond and pull it apart after it sets. I might run into more problems doing that. So I guess this was the way to roll. We have a rehearsal dinner tonight and we got a lot of work to do. But 2 days ago now, I didn't take any film of it yesterday. But yesterday after it sat all night, it was dry to the touch. And now it's dry. And it really came out pretty nice. I know this film's not gonna show it up as good as it ought to. A couple bumpy spots, funny like the knot here's got a raised area. There's a little bit of grain showing through. I think a second coat would really make a big difference. But it really came out. I'm happy with it. I would probably give it a little sand off because there's some nubs that I would sand down a little bit before I hit it with another coat. But all in all, I'm pleased with it. I'm happy. I'm really happy it dried up because there's going to be a wedding here tomorrow and they're going to have to use this. So it's right up to the time limit. 72 hours they want you to leave it to cure, and we're going to have just that when they start serving drinks out of here. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video on doing that glaze coat. I hope there's some useful tips in there for you. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you on the next one.